Hey guys, this is a video for one of my friends. He sent me a raw file. Well, actually, he posted a photo which he'd taken on Facebook, and I sent him a message saying that I absolutely love the feeling of that photo. It's absolutely gorgeous photograph, and he very kindly asked if I could edit it. So he's sent me the raw file. I have uploaded it into Lightroom. We're going to have a quick look. I promised him I'd do a video on how I edited the file for him, so he knows how I got to the final result. So fingers crossed he's going to like the result. So here we go. Right, Lightroom 3. We've got, this is a photograph. Straight away it struck me that it's such an atmospheric photograph. It really moved me actually. And if you have a look down here as well, it's actually raining. He's actually got, because it's shot at, if you have a look at the information, because it's shot at, where are we, 90th of a second, you've actually got some movement in the raindrops as well, so I don't want to lose that. I want to see if I can, at all cost, kind of try to bring that out a little bit more, so it's a little bit more evident. So it was shot at f/22 at ISO 800 with an 18mm. 18 to 55, and it was a Canon camera. This is a Canon. This is I think it's one of the first Canon RAW files. Actually, no, there's Ryan Connors as well. Her RAW file is on here as well. So we've got 18 to 55, 18mm at ISO 800. If I was going to give him a little bit of advice, I would say drop this ISO down, take it to 200. That would be going down 2 stops, and then this would be able to go down to, what's 22 minus 2 stops? Is that F11? F11 for 2 stops down to from F22? Something around there anyway. So if you did that, then you might be able to keep away a little bit of the noise that you get as you start creeping up into the higher ISOs, especially on such a kind of a dull day. But it's such an atmospheric photograph. So anyway, let's get into editing it. Like I said before, I want to try and keep the rain down on this side, so I want to see if I can expand that and extend it. So straight away, what we're going to do is pop down here. We're going to enable lens correction, and if you have a look here, we've got a little bit of distortion in the building. So if we click on that, it should, there we go, should just turn that on and off. Look, you can see the distortion that it's clearing out there, and also these just look up to be a little bit of a slant. So I just want to, rather than, because the horizon is not particularly prominent, I want to make sure that these are looking a little bit more vertical. And then very quickly now, we're just going to make that a little bit smaller. Just going to clone out these bits here. I think there's one. A little bit closer and along on a horizontal when we're cloning. Don't want to clone that one there, because obviously there's a fade, so you want to clone horizontal to it so it gets the nearest colour match it can. So there's the 2 dust spots, I think. That one's actually, let's pull that one in and do that one to that side. It's just catching a little bit, so there we go, that's better, it's a better colour match. Okay, so it's pretty well exposed as far as I'm concerned. We've got a little bit of darkness down here, but if we expose a little bit more down here, starting to get some detail down here as well, that's fantastic. If we expose, just going to be careful of the sky, so what we're probably going to do, we expose this here, and then we'll drop in a graduated filter down across the sky as well, just to bring out some contrast and information in there as well. So just pump the exposure so we can see this. We might actually just pull it back a fraction and use some fill as well. There we go, we start seeing this rain coming out here. We don't want to really put any blacks into it, because there's a good variety of gradients in here anyway. But I do want to just pump the clarity a little bit, see if we can bring out some of the details as well. And vibrance, we're not going to bother too much because there's not actually that much colour. I don't think it's going to work in black and white. If we just go to black and white, nope, definitely not going to work in black and white, because the tone of it is such an atmospheric part of the photograph for me anyway. So let's just sort out this tilt, bring that around so they're nearer vertical, these buildings over here, that's what we're looking at. And obviously now you can see this tree is just looking like it's tilting, so we're going to halve the difference. split the difference there, make sure that it's still, excuse me, hiccups, make sure it's still as big as possible. So you can see there 0.39, I don't know whether that's 0.39 degrees or what, but it's certainly a value. So there we go, so they're a little bit more vertical, that tree's not gone too far. I'm loving the lens flare here, so we might be able to bring out that as well in some HSL in a second. Right, graduated filter. Now I'm going to reset all these values, ding 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 ding, ding, and just drop that down. So let's start at just under 1 stop, and we'll drop that down. Look at that, absolutely gorgeous straight away. So let's minimise the fade on that, and then we can move this itself. There we go. So the reason for this, I want to try and bump the exposure down here but keep the contrast up here, so just pull that exposure down. Oh, such a good shot. Oops, sorry, so that's where we were, and now this is where we are now. We're just going to go just past the stop, just past the stop. I'm doing that a lot by feel rather than anything technical on that, keeping a little bit of an eye on the histogram. You'll see we've lost a bit of data here, so we might just push the exposure back up again so we can match this data up in here. So a little bit of latency actually on this one. So there we go. That's that sorted. Let's close that down as well. So let's have a look at the before and an after. That's where we were before. This is where we are now. Subtle, but you can definitely see, if you look down at the bottom down here, you can definitely see a little bit more of the rain and the atmosphere of the skies really coming through. Okay, so let's carry on. I want to put in a little bit of a split tone because we want to add just a fraction of colour. So I'm going to add in some yellow. Add in a yellow. There we go. Now one thing I've been learning actually on the split tones, don't be afraid to put that yellow in, because then you can just pull the saturation back and get it to match. It's a lot easier to get that to match, this colour here to match, than it is trying to pick a yellow colour that's down here that's just yellow. So put it right up into the, make it yellow, and then just mess with the saturation a little bit. So just pull it back on the saturation. Now, the question is, just got a message. Question is, can I get away with a blue? Oh, this photo is just fantastic. So we're going to put in a blue here as well. We might have to just push the saturation up on the yellow to balance off this. But if we pull that, put the balance towards the highlights, pull that saturation back, I'm really liking this. I am really liking what I mean. It's just such a moving photograph for me. Right, sharpening. We're going to be slightly careful with the sharpening because we've got a little bit of noise. So let's pick on the tree here. Just move around so we've got a little bit to work on. Let's pick on these branches up at the top. So we're going to sharpen until we can see. We don't want to start sharpening the grain. But that's not a problem because we're going to mask in a second. So masking off. If we mask off now, if we hold down the Alt key, so next to Command. On a Mac anyway, I don't know where it is on a PC, I've not used a PC for years. Right now, if we mask off, we want to mask off just the edge detail, not the textures, but we can be a little bit more lenient now because we want to sharpen the raindrops if we can. So I don't want to go too far that we're sharpening the grain, that's the one thing I'm looking for. So about there, about 47, that should be pretty good. Let's drop it back a little bit further, see how we can go. There we go. So we're just sharpening those down there as well. Noise reduction, let's just zoom in a little bit. I want to take off a little bit of this grain. So I'm going to bump the noise reduction just a fraction. There we go. Smooth it out. No more than 20. As soon as you get starting to get more 20 on this photo, it just starts to lose some of the details. So we want to keep it around 16. There we go. So I've stopped at 17 there. Detail and contrast. I did know what these were for and how they work, but I can't actually remember now. So we're just going to keep on. I'm just going to play a little bit and see if we can keep the detail. Now, if I push that up, no, I can't see anything happening on that. It might just be because the luminance is so low. If the luminance was up on the higher value, maybe it would be a bit more of a visual change. So I'm going to leave that where it was at 50. And we are going to put in a post-crop vignette because I just want to bring in even though they're still pretty good anyway. Let's just drop it back just to darken those rather than making them washed out. I just want to darken the corners rather than make them washed out. That's better. And just pull in the midpoint. There we go. Okay, let's just go back to the HSLs. Push in some of that yellow. And those down there, let's just push in a bit of that lens flare as well. Just make that lens flare plop, pop, plop. We're going to plop. Right, contrast. Now I don't want to lose the raindrops, so if we go strong contrast really quickly, yeah, that's looking pretty good. That's looking much better. Okay, and split tone. Just going to go back. We're just going to push in a little bit more yellow on the split tone, and then go up and we're just going to put in a bit more warmth on the white balance as well. Fantastic. I'm really liking this. Right, one last thing that I'd like to do as well is just darken these so that they look a little bit more silhouette-y. So I'm going to zoom in again. I'm going to hold down the spacebar to scroll across to these buildings here, and we're just going to darken if we can. So we've got a adjustment brush here. I'm just going to darken off. I'm going to start darkening it here like this, fading it out at the bottom. I'm going to hit O for the overlay so I can see what I've done. Quick as I can, quick. I'm just going to do, actually, just do the edges here, then we should be able to fill it in a little bit easier. I'm not particularly worried about how neat this is because this is going to be a very, very subtle pullback. It's not going to be particularly evident, so we shouldn't be able to see too much of a line. I'll show you what I mean in a second. I'll just fill that in there. This is one of the benefits of a Wacom tablet. You are literally just colouring in. Right, let's make the brush a bit bigger, and we're going to take the feather off. That's the flow. Take the feather. There we go, that's better. Just fill in the centres. There we go. And put the feather back on again, just to do a bit around this base. We don't want that harsh line, even though we are going to be moving the exposure very, very slightly. Right, so now we've done that overlay, we hit the O to take it off again, and if we zoom out, you can see they're a little bit darker, but probably a little bit too dark, because if you zoom in again, you can definitely see the edge of that. So we're just going to pull that back a fraction to there. We can still keep the detail in there, but we just don't want to see them quite so dark. It's a bit better. There we go. Then zoom out. Pull back a little bit further, half a stop to just to darken them off, and then that just sets off that side of the photograph as well. I absolutely love this photograph. That is brilliant. I'm liking that. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to email it back to Louis. Excuse me. I'm just wondering whether I can get a little bit more yellow into the sky. No, I'm happy with that. I love it. Absolutely fantastic. Let's just put a little bit more warmth in as well. There we go. Just a little bit more warmth. Just trying to get this yellow out. I love that. I love how the rain has still managed to be kept in the foreground. The colours, the atmosphere of the photo, really, really moving photo. Thank you very, very much, Louis, for letting me edit this, and I'll pop this up on Flickr and I'll email it back to him, and hopefully he'll like it. Thank you very much, guys. If you want to have a look at my blog, it is chrisfrosin.blogspot.com. You should see somewhere down here. Should see a link which I'll put up. And please subscribe to my channel as well. I'll be doing a few more raw edits, and we've also got some photography videos coming up very soon. Thank you very much, guys, and I shall see you anon. Take care.